awkward can I make it not say nothing for so long? So you said something. Hello.
Hello there.
This is the Jedi Archives. We review comics for you as well as after shows. My name's Jonathan,
I'm Mike,
and
and
and the
today we're
handsome man below
reviewing
me is. Today we're reviewing the
Star Wars: The High
battle.
Republic Adventures, Evacuation Run Part 2.
So I have a
So,
question. What is the actual title of this? Is it the Battle of Prang, or how like the title says, Evacuation Run Part 2? Like I always
you know
kind of.
what? It's confusing because the comic says it's it's the High Republic Adventures issue number 8, and then on the cover it says Battle over Brief Frang, but then when you go into the crawl,
It won't
it
be.
does this is not the crawl, right?
Yeah, but
But
on the
when you look
crawl
in the
it
crawl,
says something else. That's what I
on
was.
the
Oh,
crawl it says Evacuation Run Part 2.
yeah, so it's kind of like these ones. Like I don't know, they're
They
undecided
never
what they want the
match.
title to be,
Yeah, it's got
but that's
multiple
right.
different names.
So we'll try and help sort it for you guys watching. But
Right. But this is part 2. So if you read issue number 7, that was part 1 of the evacuation run, and this is part 2. So it does go with issue number 7, and this continues it with part 8. And they also tie into the one shots, which we also read and reviewed. So they all kind of tie together. So they all run in together. So everything's about to change as Lula, Zine, and their friends approach Area Do. They're attacked by the Nile fighters. And will the hope of a Republic resistance be shot down? Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, events are unfolding that will surprise the Jedi in the Nile and alter the course of the galactic battle, the most shocking chapter of the High Republic saga yet. And here we have this cover, and this issue does have 2 covers. And here we do see it does say the battle over Bree Frang, which is not the title of this episode, but that is where this battle takes place. But it's actually Evacuation Run Part 2. So this is the main cover. There are 2 covers for this issue. And here we see Zint and Quart.
they've become pretty much inseparable at this
Right.
point. A couple of bros got each other's backs.
Mm-hmm. I really like this cover.
Yeah, it's very dynamic. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what happens the whole issue.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty chaotic. A lot of explosion, a lot of action. Nice cover.
Yeah.
I like the artwork too. Really good artwork. And this is the alternate cover, which I mean,
Let's see. So that has another, like, almost like, wants to say a title, but that's not the title either. So yeah,
it's
they
not
just, yeah,
right. But this also happens in this issue. So falling head over heels, which is also what this issue is about, but it's not the title. So falling head over heels, you see Lula and Zine, which this is kind of like a spoiler alert of what happens at the end of this issue. So this is what it, if you've been following part 1 and part 2, Lula and Zine have been, they've been trying to propose and find a resolution of their relationship together.
it's very interesting cover. They're both totally nonchalant about falling to their death. They just want to look at each other as they're dying.
Well, it's interesting because one is a former Jedi. Well, they both have the Force. They both have
Yes.
Force abilities, so they're not going to die. We know that. They both have Force abilities, right? So this is a nice cover. It's a pretty cover.
Yeah, it is a
Uh,
pretty cover.
It's pretty, but I prefer this one. Although they're both nice covers. This is a pretty one, but I do prefer that one.
I kind of like the other one more. The other one, the
You like this
falling
one
one.
more?
They're both good, but yeah, I kind of like that one. Very poetic, pretty.
Mm-hmm. It is very pretty. Actually, the artwork style of this one, I think this is the
It's very
prettiest.
soft too.
It is very
Yeah,
soft, very feminine. This is the prettiest that I've seen Lula and Zine.
yeah. So I'm
This is
saying
the
they're falling to their death and they just look happy.
yes, not a
It's very,
care in the
yeah,
world. Yes,
yeah.
like
You can
it,
put like daffodils behind them. It looks like it's supposed to be ponies and
honestly,
unicorns.
it we feel throughout the episode, throughout the issue. They're
Yeah,
about to die and they don't care. They're just like
yeah,
they're so in love. So
yeah.
interesting. So yeah, both of them nice covers. Nice covers. So I like that. So who's in this issue? Well, we have Farzala, we have Lula, Quart, Zine, Arathab, Jacoby, Crix. Oh, I hate him. Thaya and Zint. And then one thing I found out. Oh, it doesn't show here, but
Used to be a more button or something.
there's something interesting where, yeah, no, it's not here. It's when I try to add more characters, it shows
You have to
like, a,
you have to be in the
yeah,
back.
in the edit, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll just leave the cover up. It's a nice cover. So let's get into the review then. Well, maybe I should read should I read
I have the crawl here.
oh, do you have the crawl? Read the crawl.
Yeah.
It's a nice crawl.
With the Nile storm roll right at the edge of
Wait, but
Iradu.
what's the title of the crawl at the top?
Oh my God! There's another title.
Yeah, there is. Mm-hmm.
Star Wars: The High Republic, Daughters of No World.
Daughters of No World.
With the Nihil storm roll right at the edge of Eriadu, sorry. Our heroes rush to evacuate children and non-essential personnel from there and the surrounding area so they can brace for the falling within the dreaded occlusion zone.
Mm-hmm.
Cut off from the rest of the Republic and open to attack on their way back from airlift, Lula, Zine, Court, Zint, and Farzala come under heavy fire over brief. Is it brief Rang? I think the PH is probably silent.
Brief
Bri
Frank.
Rang, Bri Rang City. Meanwhile, Crix Cameron has slipped away from Crash and her crew, with whom he's been plotting an attempt on Mark Yarnrell's life. Taking matters into his own hand, Crix makes it to the base of the Eye of the Nile, where his contact, Crank Flat, awaits. Dun
Mm-hmm.
dun dun.
Yep. Now remember, Crix Camrat is not really somebody that we've cared about. He's someone that's been on the wanted list of many people, including fans, over his role in the original High Republic's Phase 1 series.
He was
Um,
best friends with Zine when they were children.
when they were children, but
Yeah.
then
He
we
found out
pretty
she
much
had the Force, and he pretty
right
much hated her.
because they were part of that church, which really is what the path of the open hand evolved into at this point. So they're very against the use of the Force. Um, but he pretty much went onto the side of the Nile. Um, so they're he's pretty much a jerk, and we all want to see him dead. I mean, I can't stand him. He's a jerk, but things change, right? And he's evolved, and at this point, he has decided that he wants to see Markion Road dead, albeit it's because of his own selfish reasons, because he wants to be the new eye of the storm, right? But the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so I guess it's good. And so Crash thought that she can help out, and this can benefit her as well and the whole team. So she said, "Hey, I'm going to help Crix," and she put out all this fake news about him, making him seem like this big, she can help
Yeah, this
him in his
legendary
crusade,
figure.
right?
Yeah.
So that he can. She got him out of uh, uh, prison, right? Broke him out of prison against all of her friends and family. They said, don't do it," but she went against them all. Um, as we saw in the High Republic Adventures #7, which is the previous issue. Um, and before he snuck away, he found himself arriving on the Gaze Electric and uh, picking up Crix, looking for Crank Flat, and we found the Duggan question, right? Um, uh, Shortly after his arrival, and he seems like he's on Crix's side, right, helping him out. He's trustworthy, and the two of them run into Thea Fair, who's Markion Rose's assistant, and Arathab Fell, one of Markion's trusted guards, and Shiar, and then he helps subdue them when Fair threatens to capture Crix. And this is the first time that Thea has been depicted visually after being introduced in The Fallen Star, which was one of the early novels, and then seen again in releases like The Eye of Darkness and Temptation of the Force. So that's pretty cool to see these original characters from the books and novels, to see them come up in the comics. And you guys know that I love all these characters being brought in again in other mediums so we can see them being reused.
Well, yeah, visual representation goes so
Right.
far because without it, your imagination just runs wild and you just think of random things or you try and place that with whatever your imagination come up with. So it's really nice that they actually give you visual representation. That's why like these books have been so enriching because it's had so many partner resources with it. I mean, good lord, this is the most ambitious way to tell a story I've ever seen. There's books, there's young adult books, there's audio dramas, there's comics. I mean, they've even done like some things in video games and stuff like that to help add to it. Manga,
Mhm.
they just any way to help move the story along as much as they can. They've done it, so it's really
Right.
appreciate that, and
Right.
it has really helped.
And I especially appreciate when they don't just introduce characters that they never use again, because they do have characters that they bring up in other areas. Like in Arathab was also brought up in Trail of Shadows miniseries, which is also brought up in this High Republic Adventure series as well. So that's pretty cool because then you have some other history of the characters. Um, and death threats to Crix that carries a certain sense of weight because you've seen these characters before and you've seen what they've been capable of doing in other series. Um,
Like
um,
Markion Row. Like sometimes you see him in the comics, and you don't think he's that menacing, really. But when you read him in the books, you're like, oh man, this is the man. So it's definitely it adds more to the comics when you get to his cameos in the comics. Like this is a guy not to be trifled with.
mhm. And uh, uh,
Lorna Dean, yeah, she's one quite a bit in the comics, but
oh yeah,
you see how ruthless she is in the comics and in the stories. I mean, she's
and
probably been,
her two audiobooks too, which are
yeah,
both fantastic. Those are
yeah.
amazing. The two audiobooks. So those are great. So she's been very well fleshed out in the comics, the
Uh,
books, and the audiobooks. She's one of the
Honestly,
best
she's
there.
been fleshed out probably more than most when you think about it, just because those audiobooks really gives her a backstory. So they did
Yeah,
a good job
she's
with
one of my
those.
favorites. One of my favorites. Um,
I think she's gonna have a tragic end, though. I think she's gonna go down
no.
with Markion in some explosion, and they both die because she causes it. But as redemption, but she doesn't live through the redemption. I think she's gonna be the one with the knife in his back as they blow up or something.
Don't say that.
Yeah,
Well,
she's yeah. I don't. She's done too much bad to I think live. But
like Vader,
yeah, Vader,
maybe she's done a lot of bad things. You're right. You're
Kylo
right.
Ren. Yeah,
Maybe,
yeah. There's
maybe
too
you're
many
right.
bad things to live.
You might be right. You might be
But
right.
it'll be interesting to see what they do. These writers definitely don't do normal tropes. They do
That's
they do
true.
whatever they want.
You're right.
But
You're
a
right.
lot of it has to do with death. So we'll see.
Well, in this comic series, Crix is trying to follow a similar type of path where he's trying to do an assassination attempt on Ro,
But we
right?
don't
Believe
like
it or
him.
not. Well, we
We
don't
like
like him,
we
but the
like
thing
Lorna.
is, that's true. That's true. But that's true. But well, let's see. Let's see what happens to him because we'll see if he's successful or not. And that's going to be followed through in the upcoming episode of the High Republic Adventures Crash and Burn #1, which is a one-shot deal, but it's actually a part two to Crash Landing. So Crash Landing is a one-shot, but it just which is followed by Crash and Burn, which is another
We'll
one-shot
have that review out 2 weeks after this one. It's a
after
good
this one.
one.
Correct? Yeah,
Yeah.
which is a good one. Um, but I quite like Crank Flat, who is very direct and he's very like matter of fact. So I like him a lot, and he doesn't he doesn't care that he's like going against Thyan Arathrab, and he's not afraid to admit that he knows that Crix is lying about his background, because he knows his role as the inside man here on the Gaze Electric.
You know
Uh,
what kind of is making me think a lot about the Nile? They're essentially pirates, But we
They're
talked
pirates.
about it in another show. They don't have a code. They really how pirates would be. Backstabbing, doing this murder, all that, just trying to get rich. And that's where I think I really connect with the Nihil a lot more as realistic as we sometimes see some of these other pirates with the pirate code and stuff like that.
Like real pirates.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is I think that's why maybe I connect with the High Republic story so well. They're like they're ruthless. They'll fight each other. They'll kill each other. And really, the only rule is I'm your boss because I'm stronger than you. That's
Yeah.
it. And so it's really
And
yeah
and really you're only getting as far as you're getting because I'm helping you. Because really
yeah.
Crix wouldn't have gotten this far if it hadn't been for Crank.
Yeah. He's using him
Right.
essentially. Yeah. So
But
it's
Crank knows that without him Crix wouldn't get anywhere.
yeah. But
Right?
Crank's at the same time using Cricks. Too many K's.
Correct. Yeah, you're right. That's true.
They're
A lot of
using each
alliteration
other.
here, you guys.
Yeah. There's a lot of they're using each other to get what they want. But that's how it should be. That's how pirates should operate. So
That's how pirates are. That's true. That's
yeah.
true. Yeah, but Crix definitely he's got a super fat head. He thinks too highly of himself. You know, he really thinks too highly of himself.
He's spoiled.
Yeah. And let's see how this all works out for Crank, you know, and if Crix is really going to help him out or not, you know. And if Crix takes him down the path once he takes out Markion Row, which is his plan. We'll see how he goes, or if he does or not. So this issue ends with them ready to take out some chaos aboard the Gaze Electric. But given how this it's going, we'll see if he gets very far or not. Let's see how it goes, or if he gets a rude awakening or not. And then it slides on over to Eriadu, and there's some turmoil from the last cliffhanger where Lula Telesola and Zine Morala and Farzala and Quart, they were trying to get out of their last mess, right? Which was being intercut with Crix's adventures on the Gaze Electric. Because they were trying to not only steal a ship to provide cover, but also have some moves to have that stolen ship and provide safely crashing that ship to the ground away from the population. Right? That's when they're taking the ship down, and
so what I remember is they're crashing the ship. The ship's done. So pretty much they're trying to crash it safely
and not hurt anybody in the
because it's a pretty
city.
big ship. It's a
big
pretty
ship.
large ship. So but we're doing a dual screen essentially. We're following them crashing, and we're also following Crix on the Gaze Electric,
right?
The base of the Nihil. And so like I was kind of telling you earlier, there's not a lot going on with the crashing of the ship. They're just trying to crash it. They're trying to crash it safely, but at the same time as they're crashing it, the Nihil's firing on them. They have ships firing on them,
right?
So they have to crash it safely and not blow up in the process because they would like
not
to live.
Die. Right.
Yeah.
Try not to die.
Yeah. So Quart and Zine pretty much have to go out on the hull, and they have to defend the ship as it's being shot down while crashing. And that's the cover. I mean, that's literally they're standing on the ship as it's crashing, flying through space in the atmosphere, going to crash, and they're deflecting laser bolts from the other ships. It's pretty cool scene. I can see this animation already, like the Ahsoka Tano jumping from ship to ship kind of thing.
Right.
So it's a really cool scene.
And then plus, at the same time, you have this all playing out while Lula and Lula Talasola and
Zine, right?
And Zine are playing out their emotional attachment where they're in love with each other and trying to decide how they're going to propose to each other at the same time, because they're trying to propose, but they don't know that the one is trying to propose to the other at the same time that the other one's trying to propose to the one, right? So they're both trying to simultaneously propose, but they don't know which one is trying to do it first. right?
Yeah,
Because
it's essentially like three things going on at once. You got them
Crick.
crashing, the
Hmm.
boys defending the ship, the girls are trying to navigate the ship. They're the pilots, but then they're also stumbling over their words, trying to figure out how to do this, making sure parts are still working, running throughout the ship.
Hmm.
Uh, and
And trying to
then
figure out how to propose.
yeah, and then we have Crix with his with Crank, what's his buddy's name?
Crank flat.
Crank Flat. They run into uh Markion's guards, I guess you want to call them.
Hmm.
And so there's a lot of action real quick, and it's going between. It's a little confusing, honestly, because I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
It is a little confusing, but it's a lot
uh,
going on. Hmm.
yeah. Essentially, though, Crix figures out. Well, actually, Crank figures out. He's like, we should run. And so
But what Crix does, he realizes what I need to do is I need to expand the 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 wall, the storm wall. Doesn't he do that?
he does that in the next issue.
Oh shoot! Sorry, because
Remember?
we've already read all the
Yeah.
shoot.
Yeah. So he expands. Spoiler alert: he expands the storm wall in the next issue. But yeah, this one he's really just trying to run for his life from the. Really, I mean, I don't know if we can have a picture of that bodyguard, or he's pretty menacing looking. He's huge, scary looking, and they're chasing them down.
No, I think it expands in this issue, or is it the next one, John?
It's the next one,
Okay.
but he does. I forget how he does subdue them. Oh, he hits them with like a gas grenade or something, huh? As he's running away, he throws a gas grenade behind him. Yeah, that's right. They tie up the one they tie up and one they put in a cell.
Oh yes, the gas,
Ar-
right? Because they use the gas mask.
Arthab, the
Arathab.
big scary guy they put in a cell,
Mm-hmm.
and the other person,
Thaya,
they pretty
and
much
Arathab. Mm-hmm.
they tie her up, and so pretty much yeah, they're getting away from his guards because they know what Crix is up to.
Yeah, they don't trust him.
I think that was it for Crix and his story.
So Crank's behind Crix, and then they put the gas masks on. Uh, he gas grenades them.
Oh, I think that's what he's doing. Crix is trying to get to the command room where he can move the storm wall. That's why you're thinking that. That's why he's
Mm-hmm.
trying to get there. So the
He's trying
next
to get
issue,
right. He's getting
that's
to the right. He's trying to get to the command center where they can expand the
yeah.
seclusion zone.
So then we go back. That's pretty much yeah. That's Crix. He captures them. They find out he is, but he captures them and then pretty much hides them where no one can find them, and then continues to the command center on the Gaze Electric. But we go back to our heroes, and they're Falzalar and what's the other guys? The boys are still protecting the ship as it pretty much crashes essentially.
Zint
And then
and
but yeah, pretty much they get to the end. They crash. They're all safe. There's really surprisingly. And then I don't know if you didn't want to bring it up, but then
which one?
The last scene.
When they're in the cockpit?
No, when they're on the Earth, they're on the planet after they crash. They crash safely. They're all in the cockpit, but they did what they wanted. They crashed safely. And then Zine grabs Lulu and says, no more waiting for the right moments.
That's right. Because they've been
Yeah.
they've been struggling with that the whole time. Let me
Yeah.
pull it up. Let me pull it up. It's number 8. Hold on.
Did I send it to you? Or you got it?
I have it. Let me pull it up. Hold on. Okay, let me share it. Hold on.
And like how they do the word yes, it's
The little bubbles.
it's all different colored. It's not like normal black ink, so it's very pretty the way they emphasize it.
Let me get to the end.
Mm, right
Hold
there,
on, hold
right
on.
there.
Wait,
Up.
hold on, hold on. Oh, here.
So up one more is where she starts breaking. She just grabs her. She says, "You know what? I've had enough of this." They literally just got out of the crash ship. They crashed.
Oh
Get
shoot.
out. I was like, you know, we've had enough of this.
Oh shoot. Here it is. They're
That's them
falling. Is this
falling
it?
out
You
of the
see it?
ship. Yeah, that's them literally
They're
falling
falling out
out
of
of the
the
crash
ship.
ship. Yeah,
Hmm. And then there's Crix with
crank.
Crank Flat.
Yeah, this is where they're getting to the command center. This is where the
Command
storm
center.
wall.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. The controls are here. They are in the command center. I mean, in the
oh, this.
cockpit. Mhm. Here they are. Chomp Kong. Here they are. They're
Yeah,
getting out of the ship. They're here on land. Here they are. They're out.
the up one is where she pops the question. Up a
Oh,
little
here it
bit.
is. Right
That's where they
here.
said yes, but we keep almost dying, and all I can do is think
Here it
is
is.
what.
No, no more waiting. Is this it? You see it?
Yeah,
No, no more waiting for the right moment. We keep almost dying. Yep. And this is where they get those bracelets that they got from that I want you to be my wife. And those bracelets, they both got them from the same
yeah.
planet that uh Tarkin is from.
Oh, that's cool.
They're from the Tarkin's home planet.
So a very
Everybody's
pretty way of saying yes. I like the art style, how it's kind of the blue and the pink. Yeah, very cool.
it's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was essentially like the main thing of this issue was they
Yeah.
focus on each other throughout it, and then they finally get to do what their heart's telling them to do.
Yes. So it was
But
a nice
the last
episode.
the last slide really is saying, oh, and the storm wall has moved over Eridu.
Yeah.
So maybe he is moving it right now, but you don't see him moving
Because
it
they
in
got
this issue.
control center. Uh-huh. There it
Yeah,
is. The Nile
yeah,
Stormwall has crossover area do. Uh-huh. Because they did get into
yeah,
they got into the control center and they did move it. That's right. But that's good though, because now all the Jedi that were in Area Do are now in the Nile zone.
yeah. So really, the Nile, even though this is just Cricks doing it, they're biting off more than they can chew, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they're not afraid of Jedi, so we'll see how it
No, they're not
goes.
because they have the nameless. So
Yeah,
actually, they have the nameless, and they have other things that they've been working on that uh, Bulin has been preparing.
Boolin. And anything ever happened with way back in Phase One? We had that energy disruptor. They found some scientist was making on the zoo planet. The planet had a bunch of like not a zoo, but a bunch of platforms of other countries,
Yes,
countries,
that
planets.
yes, they had the exhibit like the World's Fair.
Yeah, on that planet where we first see,
The scientist when the Jedi was
yeah,
having sex
yeah. Well, I
with
was
yeah
going there.
yeah that one.
They had like some disruptor that was turning off lightsabers. Did they ever do anything with that, or that was a dead end story?
That was a dead end story, but the point of it was that the scientists, I think that
Well,
scientist,
scientist died, but they took her daughter.
right, but
Yeah,
the daughter, I think that story went through to, I think the daughter was the one that ended up going through.
There's just so many storylines. It's
I think
really hard to keep track.
that daughter went through to I think that daughter is like the grandmother of the one who's shoot, because that was,
That's phase one.
yes, phase one, but that they're already dead at this point from the ones that we're talking about now, right? S-
No,
Oh
they
no,
should. Phase one
that's
was,
right.
could have been 5 years from now or less.
I'm trying to remember. I do remember that too. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I just thought it was a really cool storyline. I haven't heard anything about it in any of the issues or anything lately.
Yeah, I
So I
don't
wonder if
remember
they just
that,
dropped it.
but I know that uh because Bulin, Bulin, Dr. Bulin was one of the younglings from, remember Mardo Row?
Oh, he was. Yeah.
Remember the little babies? The
Yeah.
babies. The little baby what are they called? I keep forgetting their names. The ones that have the little heads that look like the sharks, the hammerhead sharks. Ithorians.
Ithorians. Yeah.
Remember that the mothers were drowning? There were two mothers and a dad, or two dads and a mother. I don't remember. There were
Yeah.
three. It was three parents, but they were going to drown in the caves. And then the Jedi helped her boyfriend, Jedi, the one that she ended up killing.
Kill. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was so sad. She was sad too. The one that had like the blue skin, but he
Yeah.
had the gold tattoos or gold markings. But he
Which
saved them.
they totally swerved me. I thought he was gonna be the dad, the grandfather of Mark Yarn Row. Nope. Nope. They just kill him.
Yeah, they killed him. But anyway, the babies that were drowning there that he saved, one of those
Did we
is
know
the
that at the time?
scientist. Uh-uh.
Wow.
I found that out
Wow.
in uh
That's
the
fascinating.
last book that I read, in the last audiobook.
That is a connection, man. Like who would
I
have thought
know.
of it?
I was like, oh, that's him. Like Bulin, Baron Bulin. I'm like,
And there's really no way to explain all this stuff unless you get like 20 people talking it all through to get all these connections. Because I mean, there's so many things. I mean, I've read quite a bit of it. I probably only know like 20% of stuff. There's so much stuff.
I've read all the books, and I'm just like, it's so hard to keep them all in order because
Yeah,
it's so much, but it's hard to keep
yeah,
track of everything. It's a lot, but I've read them all.
yeah.
It's just hard to keep track. There's so many. But that was
I
cool
got
when I read that. So,
I got to catch up. All right, let's pay the bill. Oh, wait, just think of this issue before we do that. How many?
I liked it a
What are you
lot.
drinking?
I liked it a lot, but I liked it a lot more because I read the ones that come after now too. So
Yeah.
I think once you read them all, it's much more satisfying. So if you keep following the following issues, it's a lot more satisfying. But I didn't like it as much when I read it until I'd read the following issues. So keep reading, and you'll like it more. It comes to a good ending. So
How many holocrons?
I'll give it 3.5
Three and
holocrons.
a half.
Mhm.
I liked it. It was quick. I always like the quick ones. A lot of action. Uh,
A lot of action, yes.
I like multiple storylines at once. When they can do it right, it's always enriches me sometimes because sometimes when you have just one storyline, you're following it the whole way through. It can feel a little drawn out sometimes, and a little long, and it feels a lot quicker when they do multiple ones.
Hmm.
Essentially, I feel like I'm reading 2 to 3 issues while I'm reading only one. So I enjoyed it. Yeah, action. We saw Cricks get to do some bad things and enjoyed everything. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Ooh.
Yeah, I
I
enjoyed
gave
it.
it 3.5 because I got confused a lot.
It was honestly I didn't even catch the part where the girls are kind of like as they're falling to their death, trying to figure out their feelings. I'm focused on the action and all that, but that's why it's good. So that's why I enjoyed it. It's even more going on that. It's once
Hmm.
I went through it again, it's very entertaining. But definitely good. Quick, fast, a lot of action. That's what I like.
Yep.
All right. Oh, I already said 4. Yeah. All right. Hyperspace Props, the official sponsor of the Not So Virtual Cantina Special Edition in Japan. Pre-order your credits and cosplay props at www.hyperspaceprops.com. Use code NSVCSE for 10% off.
Fill your
Teak agrees.
fill your little
A,
pouch with credits.
a healthy fed teak, not the cracked out teak on Skeleton Crew.
Yes.
Be sure you're following us on YouTube at Virtual Cantina Network, on Instagram at Virtual.Cantina Network, on X at Virtual Cantina, on Threads at Virtual Cantina Network, on Hive at Virtual Cantina,
On
on
TikTok,
TikTok at Virtual Cantina. Please like the VCN Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025 Facebook page. Uh, Comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Ring the bell, everything. You know the drill. Mostly, we just want to hear from you. Talk to us. We'll talk back to you. Just tell us that we don't know what we're doing and we're just limping our way through life.
shout out to our partner pages, Star Wars
Yes.
Comic Book Nerds, and where are they?
Oh, they're not. Oh, hold on.
Star Wars Book Nerds. I don't know what they're called. Those they're usually down the corners, but there they are. Star Wars Comic Book Club and Star Wars Book Nerds. Oh, here I am.
We always kind of mash them
Here,
together.
there's four. We're in jail.
It's for
Hey,
us.
get us out of here. Let me out of here. Let me out of here.
Thank you for watching. Happy New Year, and may the Force
Happy New
be
Year.
with you.